All right, now we're on to our first panel. So just being mindful of time, we have some brilliant experts from various associations that are going to come up. So starting us off, this panel is Driving the Future, Insights from Canada's Association Leaders. So in this presentation, Matt Richardson, who was here before, so if we want Matt to come up, he's going to lead a panel discussion on the latest industry updates, opportunities, and challenges on behalf of the Trucking Human Resources Sector Council Atlantic, Private Motor Truck Council of Canada, as well as the Saskatchewan Trucking Association. So as I call up your name, if you're either moderating or if you're on the panel, please feel free to come up, and we have some seats up here for you.
Good morning again, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Just a quick story. This morning I was FaceTiming with my kids before I came down here. They're 5 and 7. We set that up to break the ice. Though my 7-year-old wished me good luck, and my 5-year-old wanted to know if I sucked if I got to come home early. So, you three up here are all leaders of associations, both on the provincial and national levels. And to start things off, I just wanted to get you each to provide some insights and maybe a brief overview, an outlook on some of the hot button topics you're hearing from your membership base. So Kelly, can we start with you on that?
Can you hear me? I was hoping that you would start with someone else first. Probably from a different lens, from Atlantic Canada. We are facing very much similar challenges that are being faced across the country. When we look at training standards, when we look at a lot of the regulatory situations or regulatory implementations that have happened over the last couple of years on the industry itself. Misclassification of drivers is a big impact right now as well for us. And so when we're looking at the industry, and even from an economic perspective, there's certainly challenges as well that are being faced. We're saying that things are challenging, but at the same time still positive. There's still opportunity, there's still people being hired, there's still a lot of movement happening in Atlantic Canada, but it's definitely, I think, been probably a challenging year for a lot of carriers, and I suspect that's not unique to us in Atlantic, so yeah.
Probably similar to Kelly, we're hearing from trucking companies within Saskatchewan sort of the similar things, the misclassification of drivers. Driver Inc. obviously is a big topic for us. Infrastructure needs within Saskatchewan. We have a lot of roads, that need to be maintained, and not a lot of pullouts or rest stops for trucking to stop. That's something that's definitely we continue to hear about. Creating sort of a level playing field for business in Saskatchewan as well. We compete with the ag sector heavily on the for-hire carrier sector. There's 2 different sets of regulations, so that can be challenging as well for our members. And there's lots of sort of, regional things that we've been working on, looking to have the government of Saskatchewan allow dyed diesel in reefer trailers. They don't, propel the motor down the highway, and it's a cost savings things. Our carriers definitely are seeing an impacts from economic downturn, depending on sort of maybe contracts that they have with their own customers. Companies are still busy. We are still seeing a lot of work moving in the sort of heavy haul, oversized, overdimensional, or especially with the resource-based economy in Saskatchewan, a lot of things like our mining, certain ag products, all those types of things are still moving. We have a lot of carriers in those spaces, so they're still working, but certainly not looking to hire, not buying new equipment. There's sort of status quo at this particular point.
Mike, how about on the private fleet side?
So I'll speak from a national front. We're a national non-for-profit membership-based association. So I'd say the biggest things we're seeing, the biggest concern is obviously our trading relationship with our partners to the south. The ongoing uncertainty about tariffs is not helping an industry that's already in rough shape. Our industry's been in a recession, I'd say, for probably 2 years in this country, despite what leading economists tried to make us believe. We have been. All you had to do is pay attention to what's going on. So, and then the latest announcement, because the economy was already in rough shape, I refuse to use his name, so the guy south of the border announced another round of tariffs that are coming into effect, which is completed trucks that are now being shipped into the U.S. are going to have a 25% tariff put on them. And most of the trucks that we get in this country are coming through there at some point in time. So it's going to increase the cost of trucks that have already gone up significantly, because trucks that were completed in the U.S. we're still facing heavy tariffs because they're being built by aluminum and products that comes from other countries that they're tariffing. So now they're being tariffed whether they're being built in the U.S. or they're being tariffed whether they're being assembled somewhere else and brought into the U.S. So that's an issue. Quality of drivers. The quality of drivers is a huge issue for the carriers, not finding drivers. There's tons of drivers out there. But the quality of drivers since MELT was first introduced in Ontario in 2017 and rolled out across the country has not got better. It's gotten worse, especially since COVID, which leads me to the third thing. Our biggest concern among our members, and it's across the board on all sorts of different regulations, is oversight and compliance. We can put as many rules into place as we want, and we've put tons of rules in place before COVID and since COVID. You put rules in place and don't have a mechanism in place to enforce them, they're pointless. All that means is the non-compliant carriers and the ones that don't want to follow the rules now have a bigger competitive advantage, because if they didn't follow the first 10 rules you had put in place, they're not going to follow the next 10. But the compliant carriers still will, and now it's costing them more money. So glad to see we're starting to see some positive things in the last year with, we heard some this morning, we've heard some out of Ontario. They put a compliance and oversight branch in place for training schools. We've heard of hiring of new enforcement officers in Manitoba, Alberta, Ontario. So we're starting to see it finally come. But without the enforcement and oversight, policies, rules, and regulations don't matter. So the oversight, I'd say, is one of our biggest concerns as well.